Hello, 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 everybody. It is Stevie Aisha Mills. Absolutely excited to be with you for another episode of The Conversation with Stevie. I am overjoyed. I love people who I know personally, y'all, and who are doing amazing things. I'm like, oh, my gosh, I'm so glad that she is my sister. Because brilliance reigns from this woman, just brilliance. And so I'm going to read some biographical information from her, but you are going to learn so much about this wonderful woman. And so her name is Dr. Sharon H. Porter. I'm so excited I cannot even talk. And I know Dr. Sharon H. Porter, she resides in the Washington, D.C. area. She is the owner of Perfect Time, SHP LLC coaching and consulting firm, founder of the G.R.I.N.D Entrepreneur Network, and creator and host of Write the Book Now interview and podcast show. Sharon is the author of The Power of Networking, How to Achieve Success with Business Networking, Next in Line to Lead Book, The Voice of the Assistant Principal, and the upcoming class of 2017, What's Next? I love it. I love all that. I'm here for all that. She is a contributing author for the MLM book, The Business of the 21st Century, Women on a Mission, Sisterhood of Stories, 3 P's of Success, Purpose, Passion, Profit, Renegotiating Greatness, 21 Lessons from Bold Entrepreneurs Who Have Built Successful Brands, and Black Women by Birth, Championed by Choice. Sharon has served as an educator for 25 years. She is a leadership coach for novice principals currently and assistant principals in a large urban school district. This lady is bad to the bone. I could have told y'all. Y'all heard this amazing biographical information, but I knew that when I met her, it was just like phenomenal because not only did she know some of my family members, but she is from the great state of North Carolina, and I just appreciate women who have just gone on to do amazing things, and anybody who has earned the title of doctor, because, you know, I'm getting an honorary doctor. I'm claiming it and naming that thing. Anybody who has earned it and put in the work is a champion in my book. So welcome to the conversation, Dr. Sharon.
Stevie, thank you so much. It is absolutely my honor and my pleasure to be back on the conversation. I love you, and I love the conversation.
Oh, I love you, too. And I am just like, if you're like, I hear in my head, I'm every woman.
I love it.
I love it. And you have come by the conversation. And a lot of these accolades were not even there the last time we talked. So tell us about the journey you have been on this year. You've been knocking out goals like Mike Tyson used to do to people back in the day.
Stevie, I'm telling you, you know, it's almost as if just a heavy burden lifted off me when I defended my dissertation back in May. And so when we talked before, I was still working on it. And that really had me bound. And I tell you, ever since I defended and no longer had to be in the trenches writing that dissertation, I said I can accomplish anything because that was truly a journey. And so I have just kept that grind up that I was doing for that dissertation, and I've now added it to all the things that I wanted to do. I'm now doing them. So I'm just very grateful. My podcast show has really kicked off, and so that was one of the things that I really wanted to do and just didn't have the time to do it. And so I'm just very grateful that I have that time now. So thank you.
You are so welcome. And I've heard some things about that dissertation. I've heard some things. I have some close friends who are defending right now, and they're like, oh, my gosh, oh, my gosh, oh, my gosh. And so anybody who's gotten through that process, I just applaud them because I understand how much focus, tenacity, you know, stick-to-itiveness, all that stuff that goes into that, and that's a testament. And I know that a lot of people who look like you and I don't really get to that level by choice, by whatever standards, but I greatly appreciate that, and I greatly appreciate what you do for education. I believe that teachers are truly the heroes in life, because without a teacher, none of us would be here. And so talk to us about some of the things you do in the education world and how your book is really helping to reinforce that.
Absolutely. I am currently a leadership development coach, and what I do, I coach first and second year principals and first and second year assistant principals. And when I tell you this is my dream job, I absolutely love it. I was an assistant principal for 3 years and a principal for 8 years. And so just now to be helping those new principals and assistant principals, because this, when I started as an administrator, I did not have that support, that one-on-one support that I'm able to provide these novice leaders every day. And so it's really a pleasure to be able to go into these schools and serve as someone that they can depend on and someone that they can look up for support when they need direction, because that first and second year and even third and fourth, but specifically those first 2 years as an administrator are difficult. They are trying, and so I've been through it. And one thing that I always tell them, I don't know the answers, but I can certainly help you find the answer. And so as a coach, that's what I do. I help coach them into the best leader that they can possibly be. And so it's really, and that's really why I created Next in Line to Lead. My dissertation, as we were talking about, my research was based on principal preparation. And I was in the middle of my article, of really looking at my articles, and realized, hey, I really have an interest in how these assistant principals are being prepared to lead their own schools beyond my school district. And so, of course, my research, the literature review, was only looking at my school district. And so I start writing my book in the midst of my dissertation. Call me crazy. So I started writing this book and interviewing assistant principals from across the country to see how they are being prepared to lead. Because one thing for sure, you have to make preparations for a leader, and that's not just a school leader, that's a leadership across the board. And so leadership matters. That's the most important thing that I got out of my research. How you prepare leaders matter. And I often tell them that I don't care what program you're in, I don't care what professional development you get prior to becoming a principal, it's not going to be anything like being in that seat and being the principal, because that's where the real experience is going to come. And so, but what it does is at least help prepare them to face all that you have to face as a bidding principal. So that's really what my book is about, and I am just so honored. It was 9 assistant principals. So far, 2 of them have been appointed principals this year. So we are just celebrating. We are just celebrating. Wow. And just know that they're going to be more because they're actively looking. I'm actually helping them. And so the goal is that all of them will become building leaders here in the very near future. So I'm excited about that.
Yes. And one thing I know for sure, I've done some work as a substitute teacher, and I've gone in all kinds of schools from elementary level all the way to high school level, and it's amazing. You can tell the principals who are involved in the school, like the leaders who are in the school, you can tell that. And some environments are like, I don't want to be here, but some are like, I want to keep going. And you can tell through everybody, the whole culture in the school. And so talk a little bit about that. What is the difference between somebody who's just here for the check or somebody who takes pride in their whole being, like who's on board for the school and really supports the teachers and the families and everything?
Absolutely, and that does start at the top, and not just at the top of your school, even though definitely your school leader is is really the key component to your school's climate and culture, but that's your culture of your school district in general. And so it's really top down. You have to be vested in the commitment of your school district. I don't care what is going on. And I often say this throughout our journey because my specific school district, we've been taking some hard hits. But one thing that I can say is the majority of the leaders and the teachers are vested in seeing the promise of my school district come to pass. And so it has to start at the top. So not just that leadership, but it has to start at the superintendent level and then be trickled down. And so that's what you see. When you talk about school culture, you first got to tame that climate first. And one of the things that people confuse is thinking that the culture and the climate are the same, and they're not. The climate can change from day to day. The culture is what you want to make sure is intact, because depending on the day, the climate can change. But you want to make sure that that culture is conducive to learning for those students, because that's what counts. When you walk in the door, especially as a substitute, and that's a great temperature, because you are someone who is not in that building every day. So when you walk in that building, you begin to hear and see and feel. You can tell exactly what kind of school that is. Do they empower those students to be all that they can be, or just do they not care? You can tell that. And so when you have a leader that's vested in the promise of their school district, you will feel it, you will see it, and you will hear it. And so before any learning takes place, the culture and the climate has to be in check. And so, and you hit it right on the nail. So leadership matters. I cannot say it enough. And also, you have to be authors of your own story. You cannot allow other people to tell your story for you, because they're going to tell it from their perception. And so it's important for school leaders, teachers in the building, everyone that's vested in that school, to be a part of authoring the story that they want put out about their school. And so it's just very important that you definitely can't be here for a check, because, you know, that, I mean, you can't do that. You will be burnt out and ready to get out the door. You have to have the love of education and put children's interests first.
Awesome. And so let's talk about the balance between being an entrepreneur and being someone who loves their job. Because a lot of times it's easy to become an entrepreneur because, you know, you might not love that job.
Exactly.
Actually love their job.
Yes.
We're talking about that balance and how it has really been brought to life in your life.
Exactly. And Stevie, that's why when I started my networking forum, the G.R.I.N.D, I really had like a broad lens. And so I really had to stop and revamp that, because I had to really think, I'm a champion for the parallelpreneur who has no intentions of going full-time in their entrepreneurship. Those are my people. And so what I do with that balance, it's funny, I was just talking to someone before, even though when you're a full-time entrepreneur, that's your grind, that's your hustle, so you're going to go all out for that. When you have a 9-to-5 and one that you love, it can become difficult to step out there to do your own thing. And so that's where I bridge the gap for those entrepreneurs. And right now, I'm mainly focused on educators that want to start their entrepreneurship. Because one thing for sure, as educators, we wear so many different hats, so many skills that we can tap into. And so that's what I bring out of these educator entrepreneurs. And so as a parallelpreneur that loves their 9-to-5, you have to be committed to seeing your dream and your passions come through. Because I'm telling you, when you work a 9-to-5 and you get off work, you've had a full day, it's easy to sit up and watch television or go to sleep or something. But if you're committed, then you have your schedule lined out. I'm a 3 a.m. riser. Every morning, I'm working from 3 a.m. to 6 or 7 doing my grind, my hustle, all of the things that I need to do, because I know at 7, I need to start preparing for my day, for my 9 to 5. When I get home, I make sure that I try to get home by 5, because my day starts on my part-time at 6. I'm either making calls, I'm doing conference sessions, I'm doing coaching sessions, I'm recording podcast interviews. All of that has to take place either in the early morning or the evening. And so, if you are involved with other people, you know that that's going to take place after you get off from work, because nobody's going to be up with you at 3 a.m. So you just have to be committed. And I think the commitment really is greater than people think, only because it's so easy not to do it. Because you got that paycheck coming in every 2 weeks from your salaried position. So you have to have that hustle within you to say, I'm doing this for me. No, I don't need this to pay my mortgage. No, I don't need this to pay my car note. But I'm doing this for me. And that's what I appreciate. And so the commitment must be there, or it's easy to stop. So, that's for me, that's what you have to have, is that commitment to see it through.
You said a lot within that. The first thing I heard you say was about really figuring out your niche, as some people say.
Right.
How do you get there? Because I remember when you did start the grind, and now to hear that you focus on parallelpreneurs, I think that is brilliant, because that is who you are, and that is,
yes,
because it is
exactly.
so many levels to this entrepreneurial thing. I wish I would have had a job that I fell in love with, but
right.
I think that because I didn't really know, what I was supposed to do, or what I said my it factor. That's probably why I didn't have a job I was in love with, because I wouldn't have been on that job. And so if I knew what I was born to do, I think I could have found the fit to be in corporate America. Now it's kind of hard to think about going back. But
I know.
It's kind of, I can't even imagine,
right.
10 years later, or,
wow.
2009, 8 years later. That's like, I can't imagine being in that. But if I would have had that would have been great, But it also, like you said, would have been a different animal to kind of tame, because you're getting a paycheck monthly,
right.
weekly, however it comes. So it's like, I don't need to do this.
Right.
So
exactly.
Was it difficult or easy to get that pared down to the fact you're like, I'm only working with parallelpreneurs for this? What was that process like?
Well, one thing that we do well is we will hop on some webinars. We will listen. That whole PD for entrepreneurship is real, right? Because we're in a lot of the same circles. And so, as you listen to individuals who've gone down that road, and they tell you, you have to narrow that thing down. And I heard that in the beginning, but again, just doing this is what I want to focus on, and I just found out that my time wasn't well spent. I was doing more but receiving less, if that makes sense. I was putting out a lot of energy, but then it didn't equal up. And so I had to just stop and look, because my time is valuable because I'm working. And when I work from 9 to 5, I am working. You know what I mean? So when I get home, I'm tired, but I got to get that second win, and I've got to keep going. So I had to really stop, and that's what I did. I stopped. I had a wonderful group, and it was many people in that group, but it just wasn't right. It wasn't right. And so I said, I've got to stop and really think, where am I most valuable? Where can I give the most value? So I can't, and I have to be real with myself. These individuals who are out here doing their thing 100% of the time, that's a whole nother beast. You're able to do so much during the day. And that's what I find. Most of the things, all of these wonderful networking events, all of these webinars at 12 o'clock in the daytime, I'm at work. I can't do that. So I had to really stop and say, who can I help and how can I be helped? because this is not working for me. Because what you're doing is wonderful, but it's not for me because I can't do that. You know what I mean? So I had to really look to see how can I maximize what I can offer someone. Because I can't offer a full-time entrepreneur anything because I've never done it and I have no intentions of doing it. And so I don't want to even waste my time going down that avenue. So what do I look like trying to coach someone who's trying to go full-time as an entrepreneur? That makes no sense. So I had to come to grips with that. And so one thing that I started finding was educators were coming my way. You know, those were who the people was tagging me for my discovery sessions. And I'm like, oh, my God. And then those were the people who were signing on for coaching. I said, okay, maybe I just need to really narrow my focus because I don't want to be all over the place. Because then I can get better at this one thing. I can become the true expert. I have the knowledge, but when you're trying to learn 50 things, you're not going to be an expert in everything. And so that's really what helped me. It was the results that I was getting that I had to really listen to and look at the data, the evidence, to say, okay, this is where I need to go. And I stopped. I did. I sent out a little notice in my little group, and I revamped. And now it is absolutely wonderful. It's like this is what I need to be doing. This is, you know, it's just more appreciated. Just because, again, I really couldn't offer to these people who were entrepreneurs 100%. I couldn't offer anything. So I'm grateful that came to me. And now I see the benefits of what I'm doing. So it makes sense now.
Mhm. And that clarity piece is so profound because even recently, and I know that you and I have had this discussion, even what you're great at as a whole, like society, what you're great at is not always what you need to be doing. For me, you know, we talked about the fact that I know PR. I know PR really well, but that's not what made my heart sing. And so even recently I just did kind of a rebrand in a lot of things. And I was like, I want to be a consultant. I don't want to do full service PR. And for me, I finally, like, you won't find any rates on my website that say anything about done-for-you services. And that was a big shift for me. And even now, I not shifted again, but expanded somewhat, that I want to work with people who have, you know, positions, whether they be corporate, whether they be wherever, they have careers, but they want to do more. And I told some people recently, and I remember when I was, like, scared to make that leap to full-time entrepreneurship. It was a scary thing, and that was my lead. I had to give myself permission to sign my permission slip. I had to gain the courage and confidence to sign that permission slip in my life. But so many people have other things that they're so fearful of doing. And what God has really been talking to me is really finding women who need courage and confidence, who may be in corporate America, who may have gotten all these degrees, all these alphabet soup that we have, and they don't know what to do now. And so he just shifted me, and I think that it's a thing where, because my goal and aspiration in life was never to be a full-time entrepreneur. That was something that God kind of shifted me into. It wasn't that I woke up and said, let me be a full-time entrepreneur. I greatly appreciate the fact of career. I can see myself as a parallelpreneur if I found the right job, but if I don't, then I will be full-time because I can't go back to not feeling free, you know?
Right.
I think I've had a taste of freedom for way too long, so being in somebody's confined space would not be good. But, you know, I said all that to say, once people understand what's for their life and they make those decisions, then it does attract the right things in their lives. So like you said, when you made that decision, the door opened up even wider because that is what you're supposed to be doing. And so I think that's absolutely phenomenal. And we have just a few minutes left. Oh, my gosh, the conversation always flies. I have a few minutes left, and what I want to do is definitely uncover anything that we have not uncovered today. And you're like, Stevie, we got to tell them this. So tell them what's on your mind. Tell them what we need to know. Tell us any words of wisdom, and we will come back and get your contact information for everybody. But what's on your heart to share with the people before we leave?
Well, one of the things that I would just love to share is you have to silence the noise when you are trying to do something. When it's in your heart and you know that you have the ability, the knowledge, all of that to get something done, you have to silence all of the noise that you will get, because that's one of the things that I had to come to grips with for myself. And some people that have things to say, sometimes it's not ill-intended. Sometimes they think it's for your best interest. But even that, and I always say, if you are confident in your ability to do something, then you don't let anyone else deter you from doing it. And I just truly believe that. And I always give the example, one of the assistant principals who was in my program, she was an assistant principal, but for 2 years. And so her whole educational journey was almost like fast-tracked. She wasn't a teacher very long. She was then a mentor teacher. She wasn't a mentor teacher very long. She became an assistant principal. Only 2 years in my program, she was an assistant principal. She applied to be a principal after that second year. Oh, my God, you would have thought the heavens fell down on people like, what is she doing? Why is she applying? And I had a conversation with her. I said, do you feel that you're ready and you can handle what it's going to take to be an effective principal? She said, absolutely. I said, well, then you can't listen to any other negative talk about you're not ready. Because if you feel you are, and that's very important, Stevie, you have to feel that you're ready, because if you have some doubt about it, then that's a whole nother issue. But if you're confident in what you can do, you silence the noise and you keep doing it. And that one little piece of advice has taken me over mountains. And so I just want to tell people, whatever is in your heart to do, you do it, and let no one or nothing deter you from keep going. So that's what I want to leave with your listeners.
Awesome sauce. And Dr. Sharon is in the house. Dr. Sharon, please give us your contact information and how we can stay connected.
Absolutely. My website is SharonHPorter.com, and I am on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at I'm Sharon H. Porter. I am Sharon H. Porter. And so you can find all of my other contact information on my website, SharonHPorter.com. The Grind, Perfect Time, and Write the Book Now.
Awesome, awesome. I'm so glad that you were here. I appreciate you. Every time I get to connect with you, I think we have a relationship with food. The first time I ever met you, we were eating, and
yes,
and I think that truly just speaks to who you are. I feel like you just are such a great Southern, delectable delight, because I feel just amazed every time I get to speak to you. I feel like we have some heartiness with what
yes.
you said. We could go forth and implement what you said. And I hear your educational background, in front of the class, in front of the school, in front of the computer, all these things. I feel it when you exude it, and I see definitely that God has created that in your it factor. So thank you for being here today. You are appreciated.
Thank you so much, Steve. I appreciate all that you do.
You're welcome. Everybody here, we learned a lot, and y'all, if you don't know what you need to do right now, I feel like we have some homework to do from the doctor, and so we got to get this niche down. And so if you ever need to connect with me, anybody, you just need to spell my first name correctly, Stevii, again, Stevii. and you can reach me at Stevie.com. You can reach me all over social media. And, of course, you can reach me here at the Conversation with Stevie. I would love to be connected to you. And, everybody, you know I never say have a great day. I always say make it a great day. Why? Because you, and yes, you too have the power to do so. I'll talk to you later.